Hi everybody, I'm Pam Hastings, Simplicity Sewing Education Specialist. And this morning we're going to be talking about encasing your seams. This is a seam finish that you're really going to use a lot in this sew along, and so I just wanted to go cover it with you so you can practice it before you do your seams. You're going to use bias tape for this, and I'm sure you all know bias tape comes in packages. There's usually about 3 yards in them. And then when you take your bias tape out of your package, you'll see that one edge is a little bit longer than the other, and you're going to see why that is in a second. To encase your seam, you're simply going to do exactly what it says, encase your seam. We've stitched our seam, and you're going to open out the bias tape. The long side is going to go underneath so that when you're sewing the top edge, you'll definitely catch the bottom edge. So I'm just going to wrap it around my seam all the way down and make sure the edge of your fabric is right against that fold. Okay, here we have one that's all ready to go. I'm just going to simply put it in my sewing machine. Stitch close to the edge of the bias tape, but not on the very edge, because you want to make sure that you're going to catch the bias binding underneath. Put my needle in my fabric, start to sew. A little bit more. Okay, and you can see I'm sewing through my bias tape, and you can see how it's caught on the underside as well. This black stitching is my seam, and the blue stitching is where I've stitched the bias tape. Okay? Now, you're also going to come across some times where you're going to have a curved seam. The beauty of bias tape is, because it is on the bias, it's very flexible, and it lets you do what you want to it. So if you're going to sew around a curved seam, the easiest thing to do is take your bias tape, make it match the curve that you need to sew around, and then you're going to steam it into place. And it's going to stay. Once it's steamed, it's going to stay. I steamed this last night, and you can see it's staying perfect. Now I'm going to open this up just as I did before, and I'm going to tuck that curve right in there. And just like before, the raw edge of my fabric is going to go right up against the fold. Okay, oops. A little bit in there. Okay. Pin it, and then I'm just going to sew right around that curve, and my curved seam will be enclosed. And that's all there is to encasing your seams.